Children need to be celebrated, not concealed. Children need to be celebrated, not concealed, not hidden, not shamed. That moms shouldn't be shamed for being a stay-at-home mom, that we don't downplay the importance of having children. Children need to be celebrated, not concealed. The fact that Paul is talking about kids in such an important letter shows the value the early church had and placed on children. What I see here is the early church has a high regard for children. And you can see how they beautifully carried the legacy of Jesus when Jesus says in Matthew 19:14, "Let the little children come to me and don't hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Jesus loved kids. And he wanted them to be in his presence. What does that mean, parents? It means this verse is a reminder that you need to bring your kids to church. It is a non-negotiable. It is not a question. It is not an argument. They need to be in church. Why? Because it makes a difference. It may not make a difference that Sunday you bring them, but the seed that is developed or the seed that is deposited in their spirit, in their soul, will bear fruit and harvest one day. And I have some data that can encourage you. I just believe on this podcast and what we do with Legacy Parent Network, we're going to be data-driven but spirit-led. And there's beautiful data that shows us the beauty of what happens when kids are in church. My friends at One Hope, they're an incredible organization here in Florida, and they give data for youth pastors and pastors that can gotta help us navigate what's going on with Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They had a survey that they did with U.S. teenagers, and there was a part that it showed three things: depression, high anxiety, and loneliness. And based on how a teenager felt about church and the importance of church, there was different data, whether they had more anxiety or less depression, more anxiety, less anxiety, more loneliness, less loneliness. And I want you to see this. There's data to back up the fruit of getting your kids in church, the results of getting your kids in church. So if church was not really important, they had the highest percentage of loneliness. They felt the highest percentage of loneliness. They felt the highest percentage of anxiety. And they felt the highest percentage of depression. 64% of the students in the survey that church was not really important to them, 64%. High anxiety, 82%. Loneliness, 64%. Now let's compare that to very important. Depression, 32%. High anxiety, 48%. Loneliness, 48%. Now let's do the comparison. Not really important, 64% depression, 32% really important, depression. Are you understanding what the data is showing us?